We'll just wait for another minute before we get started. Okay, all. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Today's topic is regarding Litera's document automation solutions called Litera Create. We want to utilize this time to take you through how to take document drafting to the next level and to improve the efficiency across the firm. Next slide. All right, so as usual, this is our confidentiality and disclaimer for your reference. Okay, today the presenter will be myself, your territory account executive in APAC, and we also have Gallo, our senior sales engineer, will take you through the importance of Litera Create. Okay, so now we're going to today's housekeeping before the content. So again, this presentation will be for 30 minutes and all the participants will be on mute. If you have any questions, please submit your questions onto the GoToWebinar panel and we will respond to you via emails if there's a limited time left. Okay, the last item is this webinar will be recorded and we will send it to you via email after the webinar. Okay, all right, so today's agenda will be, Gallo will take you through and talk about the challenge of the traditional legal document drafting process and the key benefit of Litera Create. How can we make the creation process much faster and more accurate and with the automation workflow? And also how to safely reuse of the contents and conversion of your document to the templates. Lastly, regarding the clauses you want to insert into your first draft, how we can utilize the content library and all the techniques for clauses insertion. Okay, so Gallo, thank you very much. I think we can get started with your presentation.
Thank you, Iris. And thank you everyone for joining us today. So before we jump into the actual product demonstration, let's first take a look at some of the key challenges that legal professionals are facing with the traditional legal document drafting methods. Traditional manual processes for drafting documents are proving to have a very high risk of human error. Lawyers sometimes use incorrect client information in documents or use outdated clauses, and sometimes they even generate documents that don't follow the firm's styles. We also see that manual processes of drafting documents from scratch are very inefficient and time-consuming. Lawyers that don't have access to firm-approved templates and or a content library are always forced to reinvent the wheel for every single document that they are drafting. This inefficiency not only affects lawyer productivity, but also results in higher costs for clients, which can then lead to clients disputing excessive billable hours for document drafting, and that can result in unhappy customers, which is what we don't want. And the lack of a centralized document automation system that allows for secure remote access means that documents and content will pass through various networks and devices, which then increases the risk of security breaches. A lot of these challenges that we are reviewing today can be tackled with a secure, centralized cloud-based document automation system like Create, like Litera Create. So what is Litera Create? Litera Create is a document automation solution, like Iris mentioned, that basically brings together two components. It brings together document templates and content libraries, all under one single ribbon inside Microsoft Word. Let's take a look at some of the features, some of the key features of Create. With Create, lawyers will be able to have easy and quick access to the most up-to-date templates, boilerplates, and packs. The firm's knowledge, clauses, and content will be accessible through a centrally managed content library. We'll be taking a look at all of that during the demonstration. Both content and templates can be easily shared with individual users, practice groups, or firm-wide. There is an anonymized sensitive information feature in Create that allows users to safely reuse not only content, but also documents. We'll also be taking a look at that today. And we also have integrations with key document management systems like iManage and NetDocuments that allows quick and easy document storage. A very important point that I want to mention here as well is that Create has robust APIs that our clients can use if they want to bring meta and client data into templates from third-party meta and client management systems. So with those two slides out of the way, let's now take a look at the Litera Create in action. So for that, I'm going to go into Microsoft Word. And at the moment I am in Word. And if I go into my Litera ribbon, here is where I will have my Create section with all of the tools that I need to effectively draft documents from scratch. So for our first example, I will put together a letter of engagement because this is one of the most common documents that law firms generate on a daily basis. So if I want to do that, the thing that I need to do is just need to go into my ribbon and select Create. What this will do is it will bring up my library of templates. So this library of templates, as you can see on the left-hand side, has different sections. You can customize some of these sections to your preference. You can customize them according to the lawyer, what practice areas and what law they practice. You can customize various user accesses in Litera Create. For now, I will go into my favorites, and I have an engagement letter, which is that letter that I want to put together, as I mentioned before. So I will select that template and hit OK. What Litera Create will do now is it will go away, will bring up my engagement letter template, and I will get a split user interface. On the left-hand side, I will actually have a preview of the template itself. And on the right-hand side, I will have the template form. So basically, all of the fields that I need to complete to be able to put this engagement letter together. Here at the top, we have the author field. The system has automatically recognized that it's me putting this, this engagement letter together. So it has selected me as the author. I can change it if I want to. At the moment, I'm using my Chicago username, and that means that this letter will have the Chicago's letterhead. But if I use a different user that has a different office location, like London, for example, or Sydney, then the letterhead will change accordingly on the template that I'm working on. For delivery phrases here, I have the option to manually type them. So for example, I can select here confidential and type confidential, but I will also have a list, a drop-down list that I can select from. So for example, here I can select this to be a privileged document if I want to. Recipients, in the exact same manner, I can manually type the information for the recipients. But as I mentioned before, at the beginning of the presentation, we integrate with various systems. So I can actually pull contact information from other systems. So here I have integration with my Outlook address book, interaction, and also my CRM. So from here, I can actually grab contacts and just simply drag and drop them into the recipients field. I can add CC and BCC as well. And if I hit insert, what will happen is all of the information that is stored in this other system for this contact will then be pre-populated into this engagement letter template, as you can see there. I will leave the subject line as it is. For salutation, here salutation has been automatically adjusted for me, as you can see, because we selected Randy to be the recipient of this letter. The salutation has been updated to Dear Randy. I also have a few drop-down options here that I can select from, and I can also type the salutation manually if I wish to do so. Something else that we can see here is that whenever we move into a new field, the corresponding section in my template is highlighted. So here, when I click on salutation, the section where the salutation will be added into my document is highlighted. So this way, I know where the information that I input into this form will appear in my document. Client name, in this case, I can just select company ABC. Matter name, in this case, will be ABC. This is Smith. So if you have matter name, matter number fields in your templates, using our APIs, we are able to bring that data from external systems. So if you use a matter management system and you want to bring that data from those systems into your templates, you can easily do that with Create. We have here a matter type field as well, and we have two options. We have litigation and transactional. Litigation will add the litigation clause into this engagement letter, and the transactional will then add a different block of text into this engagement letter. So if I select litigation here, this green text will be added into my document. So I'll do that and move on into the next field. This form that we are completing is dynamic. And what I mean by that is that it will basically change depending on the answers that the users provide. So for example, at the moment, my fee arrangement is hourly with this client. But if I, let's say, and if I keep it that way, the next field will be billing rates. But if I decide to, let's say, change my fee arrangement to fixed, then the next field will be updated to flat fee. And then I can here add a flat fee if I need to. The same applies to this complex language field. At the moment, by default, it says no. But if I select that there is a known conflict, I will then get 3 extra fields that I can use to add the relevant details into this engagement letter. For now, I will just go ahead and select no. And once I'm ready with my template, I can go ahead and select finish. What then will happen is Create will go away, pre-populate all of the information that I enter into the form into my template, and we will get a brand new engagement letter in a matter of minutes. So you can see here we have our engagement letter. It has our letterhead for Chicago. It has all of the information that we added into that field, into the fields of the form, and I can then go away and send this letter out. Let me now close this document down and let's move into a different workflow. And this will be a bit of a more complex workflow. We'll now work with a master services agreement. And during this workflow, I want to take you through how you can not only use data sets, and I will explain what data sets are later during the demonstration, but I will also show you how you can easily insert clauses into your documents using our content library. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go and open my library of templates, and here I have my MSA template. I will select OK, and we'll get again the same user interface. I will get a split screen with the form on the right-hand side and the actual preview of the template on the left-hand side. So as you can see here, I have a lot of fields that I need to complete, and this is common when you work with templates. You might have a lot of fields that you need to complete for some of those templates. So what we've done here at Litera with Litera Creates, we enable now users to be able to reuse data sets. And what data sets are basically answers to the fields of a template that have been saved in the system for future reuse. So for example, if I'm putting this MSA together for a fictitious client called Nexel Corporation, and I've put MSAs together for this client in the past, what I can do is I can actually use the data that I enter into those MSAs in the past and pre-populate it into this template. If I want to do that, I can go into the Apply Data option, and this will bring up all of my data sets. So for example, here I have a few data sets for Nexel Corporation, and in this case, I will select the 2024 one. If I hit OK, all of the data that I have stored on that data set will then be pre-populated into this form. And if I need to change any of these fields, I can do that. There's no restrictions on that. So here I can change this to John Smith. I can update some other names or some other fields if I need to. And if I then want to go ahead and save these answers as a new data set, I can also do that. I can simply go ahead and hit the Save Data option, and this data set pop-up will appear, and I can then give this data set a name, add some help text, click OK, and then this data set will be saved into the system. And whenever I click Apply Data, it will appear on my data set list here. Now, what I want to do is I want to generate this MSA, but I still need to add a few clauses into this document. For that, instead of hitting Finish, I will go ahead and select Finish and Show Library. So what Create will do here is it will generate the actual document, the actual MSA, but it will also open up the content library on the right-hand side, as you can see here. So I have my MSA, it already has all of the information that I enter on the template, but here I also have my content library with all of the content clauses that I use whenever I am drafting documents. For this particular example, I need to add a deposit clause into this MSA. And for that, I will go scroll through this document and go to section 4, which is payment terms. And here I need to add a deposit clause. So if you were not using a content library or a document automation system, you will have to probably copy paste some content from other document, make sure that the formatting is correct, that the numbering is correct, that the fonts are right, and a lot of stuff that you need to check when you are reusing document content. But here, you will already have your clauses ready to go in your content library. And that's what I have here. I have my deposit clause already in my favorites. At the bottom here, I will have some guidance text that I can use to basically see information on who created this clause, when was it created, and from what document it was extracted. And I can also actually see a preview of the actual clause itself here. And I can see here that there are a couple of variables in this clause, one for the deposit amount and one for the non-refundable deposit amount percentage. So if I want to add this clause into my document, what I need to do is, there are many different ways that I can do that actually. I can actually put my mouse where I want to insert that clause, go into the clause itself, double click it, and it will add it into my document. I can right click on the clause and I can insert it at selection point, basically where my mouse is. I can make sure that I'm using the formatting of the source. So I will be using the formatting that is applied in the document. or the formatting that is applied into the clause itself. Because when you save clauses, you can also have the ability to save the formatting. So whenever you add them into documents, it will follow some consistent formatting. So here, you can do it in all of these different ways, but the easiest way to do it is just to basically grab the clause and drop it directly in the document where you want it to be. As I mentioned before, this clause has two variables, and that's why I get this prompt for me to complete the variables in this deposit clause. So I'll go ahead and do that. I will add the deposit amount, 250,000, and the non-refundable deposit percentage, which is 10%. If I select finish, create will go ahead, pre-populate my answers into the clause, and then the clause will be added into my document. So here, as you can see, the clause, this deposit clause has been added into my document. The variables have been completed, and Create has not only added the content into the document, but it has also done all of the formatting for you. We've also made sure that the clause follows the correct numerical order, so that you don't have to go back and check those details whenever you're inserting content into your documents. If I continue scrolling through this document, here I have section 12, term. And for this section, I need to add two clauses. I need to add a clause for termination for cause and another one for termination without cause. Again, I have both of those clauses in my favorites. So I can review the clauses here if I need to. I can read the content of those clauses. And if I'm ready to add them into my document, as I mentioned before, I can simply just put my mouse where I want to add the clause, and I can double click on that clause, and it will automatically be added into the document for me, as you can see there. So the termination for cause clause has been added, but I can also then go ahead and drag and drop the other clause if I want to. You can insert two clauses at the same time as well. In this particular case, I've just added it one at a time. But if you need to insert 2 or 3 or 4 clauses at the same time, you can just go ahead, grab them all, drag and drop them into the document, and those clauses will be added into your document. Great, and the final workflow that I want to take you through today is basically, I want to show you how you can safely reuse documents and content with Litera Create. So let's say, for example, that I want to save this MSA that I'm working on as a template, because I don't want to have to add those clauses every single time that I'm putting an MSA together for this client, because I've already done it once. I don't want to do it again. Usually, if you're using any other document automation system, you will have to then contact the relevant person in your firm to help you put a template together, learn how to automate templates yourself, or have someone do it for you. That process can be very time consuming and quite tedious, but with Create, you have the ability to do that yourself. You can enable users to be self-sufficient in that sense. So if I go into the Litera ribbon, here I will have a save option. So if I hit that option, I have the ability to save this entire document in my content library. I can give this template a name, so I can call it MSA 2024 Nexel Corporation. I can add some tags if I want to quickly find this template in my content library. I can also add some help text here as well for me that I can so that I can use this as reference in the future. I will select to save this template in my MSA folder, and I'll make sure that the anonymize feature is enabled. So if I now hit OK, what will happen is Create will grab the document, it will scan every single paragraph of this document, and it will identify all of the sensitive information that you have in this document. So I'm talking about here company names, dates, addresses, client names, amounts, and things like that. And it will give you this window where you can review all of that sensitive information that has been picked up by the system. Here, for example, I have Freedom Solutions Group, LLC. This is a company name. I can use the arrows here to navigate where I use this company name in the document. And then once I have reviewed all of these items and selected whether I need to anonymize them or not, I can select what is the anonymized action. So if I want to add variables into those fields, I can do that. If I want to add just a blank line, I can also do that. And I can also add a symbol or curly bracket text. In this case, I will go ahead and select variable because we want to create a template here. So I'll go ahead and click OK. Create will go away, will do all of the heavy lifting for you, will anonymize all of that data, add the variables into the template, and it will let you know once that automation has been completed. Once you hit OK, your content library will be open and you will be directed to that template that we just saved, which I have it here, MSA 2024, Nexel Corporation. We can see here a preview of the document itself. And if I want to use this template, I can just simply double click on it and Create will open up this template for me, and it will have the MSA preview on the left-hand side, the MSA template preview on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I have my form with all of the fields that I need to complete to put this MSA together. Great, so as we were able to see today, Create provides you with a wealth of tools for both templates and content, consolidated all into one single Word ribbon that will help you streamline document drafting end to end. So Iris, should we now take a look at some of the questions from the audience?
Yes, thank you, Gallo, for your presentation. It's great. I do have a couple of questions here. So the first question is, what cloud architecture is Litera Create hosted on?
Litera Create is hosted on a single tenant Microsoft Azure cloud architecture. However, we are planning to offer multi-tenant hosting later this year or early next year.
Perfect. That's good to know. The second question is, are we able to automate, as a firm, are they able to automate their own template with Litera Create?
Absolutely. As part of the onboarding for Litera Create, you and your team will be trained on how to automate templates so that you are able to maintain your templates and automate new ones yourself without having to rely on us. So we want to make sure that you're self-sufficient whenever you want to create new templates. And as I said, amend your existing templates, you will be able to do all of that yourself.
Right, that's pretty important for customers to have the sense of ownership for their own template maintenance instead of reach out to our teams every time they need to create a template and manage a template. So I think that's pretty important. I also have one question. Are you going to implement any Gen AI capability into Litera Create?
Absolutely, yes. One of the main priorities for Litera Create at the moment is Gen AI, and we will actually be releasing our new Gen AI enhancements for Litera Create at ILTACon next week. So be sure to keep an eye on your email because you probably will be receiving an email shortly from us with an update on Litera Create and some of our other solutions because there's a lot that is coming related to Gen AI, not only with Litera Create.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think those are the questions I have. Participants, sorry about that because you were on mute for the webinar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send it through the panel or send it directly to me and Gallo. We'll be able to answer you directly, okay? All right.
Sorry, Iris, there's a question here, a new question from Shams. He's asking if we provide services for the templates creation. And the answer to that, Shams, is yes, we do. We have a dedicated professional services team that all they do is automate templates. So if you're interested in getting more information on that, we'll make sure that Iris gets in touch with you on that. But definitely the answer is yes. And as I mentioned before, we're also happy to train your team so that your team can learn how to automate templates themselves, so they don't have to rely on us. So both options are available. Sorry, Iris, I just wanted to quickly address.
No problem. Thank you.
Question.
I missed that. Thank you. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Shams. All right. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see you in the next webinar. Bye-bye.